So welcome everyone. Super excited to be back. I've missed book club and haven't seen you all since last year. It's my little joke. Welcome to 2017. And we're kicking it off with a fantastic book, Money Masters the Game by Tony Robbins. This book is big. I didn't realize, like I started reading it before, but the pages are really thin. And so it's like 600 pages. So this is going to be a meaty book. So I'm excited. So we'll figure out an action plan for how we're going to go through the book and the pace and all that. Today is kind of an intro into the book. First couple of chapters, he has kind of like chapter 1.1, 1.2. So we can kind of dive in. 1.2 is kind of giving an overview of the book. So kind of right up to that point, and then we can decide how we go forward. So, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins. I, have read a bunch of his books and studied them and applied them. He's huge on application of actual knowledge, and the way he writes too, it's so almost conversational. I love the way he does it, and exclamation points and all of that. So for me, I really liked right before he actually starts to summarize the chapters, just in regards to just actual learning in general, the way he kind of says, the first is cognitive understanding, then it's emotional mastery, and then physical mastery. And really this book is about mastery of money, right? And there's a quote, money can, money is a good servant but not a good master. We want to master money, and so we're here. And, from the success of what we had in the Slight Edge, we really all created shifts in our life from that because we applied a lot of that. And so definitely I want to do that here and just get into it and, get our hands dirty and, and actually week to week start applying things. So on this journey, we're going to, whoever's comfortable, of course, if you want to share a little bit of maybe things you implement or things you want to implement as we go, I'd love to do that. So just open floor here, whoever wants to jump out. Any initial kind of feedback or comments or excitement or whatever you feel about this, feel free to pop out and we'll get rolling. Oh, Leslie, I think you're muted. Don't hear you.
Oh, I unmuted.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I love this book. I started listening to it on my phone in the car like a year ago, and I had to buy the book because this is a do book. This is not a just listen to while you're in the car book, right? There are websites he tells you about and things like that. So this is a good one to have the book and not just listen to the audio, I found for myself, because I get like all excited and then I couldn't see the website he was talking about, and you can't write it down when you're driving, that kind of thing. So it's definitely worth an investment in a physical book for me. And the other thing I love about this book is he starts off in 1.1, right? Telling you, you're not freaking going to beat Wall Street. Don't be an idiot. You're not going to beat Wall Street. And I loved that because we're always given that kind of advice, right? I can help you get better than average returns. I can help you do this, that, or the other. And so when I first heard that on the audio, it was a breath of fresh air, and you knew it was something you could trust and implement. This is real talk. This isn't BS. This isn't somebody trying to sell you their fund or whatever. It was real talk, and it's not his advice and guidance. He went to experts to get it. So that was awesome from my point of view. Those are the things that I took away from the first 1.1 and 1.2. I really loved it. I liked rereading it. So thank you, everybody who chose it. I think it's a great way to start 2017, right? Because if we're going to make money, it's not really about how much we make. It's about how much we keep. Who's next?
This is Shakira. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you very well. We can't see you, but we can hear you awesome.
Right, that's good. I'm glad you can't see me at this moment because I just literally jumped out of the shower. I forgot the call was starting. I have a question. Were we supposed to have read the book already?
Well, it's kind of like, we're doing a bit of an intro, a recommendation of reading 1.1, 1.2 chapter, but today's more laid back. It's just more any thoughts you have about the book or getting started in it. If you haven't read it yet, that's fine. We're going to dive more into the meat starting next week, but anything you want to share about it, Shakira's open game here.
Okay, cool. Hi, Kat. Love to see you.
You
It's
too.
good to see you. Good to see everybody. Hi, Alicia. I haven't read the book at all. I haven't cracked it, but I do own it. So that's one of the reasons why I was just really happy to jump into the book club with you guys, because I have been meaning to read the book, and I haven't done it yet. So what you're saying is we need to catch up, have 1.1 completed, and what's the next piece? What's your next objective for next week? So
I was thinking that because if we're gonna maybe follow a bit of that, read 10 pages a day, and we have a week, we could even finish the first section for the next week. So we'll finish out with 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4.
Okay.
Next week, because reading a few pages a day, we'll be able to get through that, no problem.
Good enough. I was completely inspired by the promotional video that shared this book, so I'm really excited to read all the stories, all the short biographies of people who have made serious money. So that's me.
Fantastic. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, Shakira.
Me too.
Anyone? Via?
Okay. Yeah. I read chapter 1.1 and 1.2. Cost about 2 weeks to send it over here to Europe, so I have the book now 2 weeks. So I started reading, and what I like the quotes. He has a lot of quotes, so I use them for my Instagram accounts to send quotes. So that and what I read was about baby boomers. Well, I'm a baby boomer, and one of 3 baby boomers have less than $1,000 saved. So that's really bad. So that's a little bit baby boomers. That's my niche. So I've learned from that. So I can use that to reach out to baby boomers, because I know now they have not a lot of saving money. And so, what I also read was he told about playing with a child, and you always lose from a child with games because they are more experienced. That was also a very nice metaphor. And what I also got out was at page 37, 53% has from American people has too less money saved for their pension, their retirement. So that I learned that's I can use it for my blogs, for my business, to reach out to baby boomers. So I've got a lot out of that until now.
That's fantastic, Ria. I like that you're also automatically thinking from marketing. It actually didn't even cross my mind because I'm thinking about myself and applying it, but fantastic, because I mean, we're business owners here. And so taking this information and also transferring it into helping other people and using it in blog posts and using quotes. I'm a huge quote addict and collecting quotes, so I always go to Tony Robbins' books actually and look through his books for the quotes because they're fantastic. But I love that you did that. I was like, I should have thought of that, but it was a light bulb for me. So thank you for sharing that.
I'll go. I haven't actually got my book in the mail yet, so I haven't read any. And I've never read any of Tony Robbins either, so I'm just excited to get into it. But it feels good to be here and hear the stories and just be in the zone. And yeah, so I don't have many insights or gems to share from actually reading it at this point.
Well, you're a gem, Terry, so thank you for coming up. And Alicia, Kathy, Erin, whoever feels comfortable coming out. The way we have it is just, kind of open kind of forum. If you want to jump out and share anything, any insights or how you feel about this book, feel free to jump out.
Sure, I'll share.
Awesome, Kathy.
I'll share. I started reading the book and I got further into it because I was so enthralled with reading what I was reading. And one of the things he says at the beginning is by following what the steps he has in this book, he's going to make it simple. It's going to be a simple system that you don't have to spend a lot of time on. You don't have to be researching stocks and figure out which ones to buy and sell. And I just like the idea of having something simple, and because I know for me, I don't have a whole lot of time, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there don't have a whole lot of time that they can spend on what do I do with my money and how do I save it. And so having a simple system that we just put in place and check occasionally, I like that idea. I really like it.
Awesome, Kathy. Yeah, I mean, it's about that, and like what Leslie was saying too, it's a do book, right? So having these kind of simple, actionable steps is definitely what it's about. And also carrying over from Slight Edge with like small daily actions and kind of small chunks is the way to go for sure. Alicia.
I'll leave it up to me. So since I have the book and like it's due in the library in like 2 days, and hopefully I'll get another extension, but we'll see what I need to do. I like these the first 2 sections because she's right. It takes on its simple back, because if it's not simple, we're pretty much not going to do it. So it lays it out like, look, you can do it, and he's wondering why don't people get started. So he shares a lot of quotes that's inspiring that we should share on Instagram and everywhere. And he also bolds a lot of sections that makes it easy to read and understand the sections. But then in this next section, it's like there's 7 steps. So I thought I'd read the 7 steps so people can kind of be prepared for all that. And the 7 steps are the most important financial decision in your life. So the section 1, and I think it's going to break it down more, but he describes the 7 steps. Welcome to the jungle. The journey begins with the first step. So why don't we get started in the first step just by just getting started? And that is so hard because everyone is like, how do you get started? And he's like, just don't worry with the how and just get started. And the second section is become the insider, know the rules before you get in the game. And I think this is kind of where he lays it out, and like, just like in music, you have to know all the music theory, you have to know all the scales before you kind of even create a song. If not, you're just kind of creating a dissonant kind of weird things, and people are like, how does that fit together? And you don't understand unless you know all of your scales first and all your theory, and then, oh, now I can piece together a song. And I think this is kind of the same way of how you find your target and what your minimums are and your rules for your money where it meets in there. And section 3 is what is the price of your dreams? Make the game winnable. So together it starts to go with the goals and the plan of what you really want. And by the time you're done with step 3, you'll know how to build wealth for your future retirement, because this book's goal, it explains that how you're supposed to create that financial freedom that we're all reaching, right? So that's where we're like, how can we create that financial freedom? And I don't feel like you have to be a millionaire or a billionaire to feel like you have financial freedom. A lot of people are happy with making sure their expenses are paid and being able to do what they love to do, and they feel like they're in financial freedom. So I think this book will help us enlighten where that is for each of us. And section 4 is make the most important investment decisions in your life. And I think that's really knowing where you're going to invest and how you're going to create your assets in there. Because when I think of my assets now, I'm like, I have my car. You know, like, I kind of probably should try to have more assets than my car. A car is not really an asset. Section 5 is upside without the downside. Create lifetime income plan. And it says, we'll create ways to stop and drastically limit your losses and increase your gains. So leveraging your investment vehicles for that. And this reminds me of like, I want to get that cash flow game, the cash flow requirement. Have anybody played that game? That's where I feel like this is kind of like teaching us. If you played that game, maybe that can help you in this book. And section 6 is invest like the 0.001% in the billionaire's playbook. So here we're gonna meet the 12 colorful, brilliant minds of finance and learn what guided them through the economic condition. And he gives different examples of a lot of people that I've never heard of, but are apparently famous. And then section 7, just do it, enjoy it, and share it. And I think that's really where we want to live a richer and fuller life, is if we've been able to do something successfully and we love what we've done, we've created a financial independence, why don't we help in more people? And this brings me back to a story where I met someone who knew Mary Kay, the owner of MLM, and she went to a lot of her stories and learned from. Now I was gonna say like it was like this gay guy that was rich or something, and he knew he had AIDS and wanted to leave. He had to leave his fortune for his family, and he knew how to manage his money, so he taught his family how to manage the fortune that he was going to give them, and from there they were able to balance and manage their money from that, because he knew he was gay and had AIDS and was going to die in like a year or whatever. So I think that was really enlightening to me, like prepare your family of how you want them to use your financial rewards for that. And I'm still kind of learning that from like my dad, because he's leaving me like that inheritance, and kind of started giving it to me, and it's a challenge to learn how to finance the money. Like, look, you got to know your basics, the savings, pay your expenses first, and all these kind of things. And that's where I kind of get from that. You've got to share and know how to help your family manage their money as well, because if not, it's kind of like back on your burden too if you don't share it. And I've read a lot of books that on how you balance your funds and how you leave it for other people, and I feel like that's part of the financial independence, or financial thing that you give off, if you can help share it with your family and how they're going to do it. So I think it's important, I start learning to teach my daughter and how she's going to, build financial independence, and teaching that. And I see Lawrence and other people teach their kids with online marketing as well. And I think it's a challenge, because, it's a job that they want to create, but you have to create the balance where they do want to do it. And I don't know, it's a struggle being a parent too, and teaching in a different way like that. And so hopefully I can get some enlightening on, either different teaching, how you can import that in, and how it's important to share that financial independence, where I feel like I'm not really financial independent unless I do share it with my daughter and she knows how to manage her money as well. And then I'll feel like more financial independent. I passed it on and she knows how to manage her money, in that way too. So that's how I kind of look at it. And I love all these quotes that they're leaving in here. Joseph Campbell is the last one. I don't believe people are looking for the meaning of life as much as they are looking for experience of being alive. It's all how we feel here too. So thanks, Kat, for putting this together. And I love how I recommended the book, because I was putting it on my list and saying, well, I'm going to do this year. Dang it, I'm going to conquer this. And it's so much helpful with all this support and how we all can do this together.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you, Alicia, for going through the sections and just pre-framing for everyone. Just everything you said is just so many different points. Fantastic. Yeah, definitely about, taking this knowledge and applying it, and then being able to share it, right? And share it with family. And, even kind of having this feeling, like for me, made me think like maybe even, not, I don't think it's, maybe not having the ability to learn from our parents or our guardians because they didn't have access to information like this. And so in a way also kind of creating a new pattern and a new cycle going forward in our family, like makes me think of my family and carrying things on and maybe changing certain things within, generations of how maybe people were taught before. So I think that's super powerful. So amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And welcome on this also, Patricia, and we had Julianne on here for a moment. So if anyone else wants to come out, Erin or Patricia, if you want to just share some thoughts about this, even if you haven't read anything yet from the book. But if not, we'll kind of start to wrap up. Anyone? Oh, Shakira, yeah, for sure, jump out.
Yeah. Just to comment on something Alicia said about the game Cash Flow. It's an excellent game. I own it. I used it when I was teaching financial literacy to some of my clients, and it's a great game for you to play with your kids to help them understand the whole idea of wealth creation and wealth formation, and the whole world of jobs and careers and so forth. So I highly recommend that.
Yeah, that is a good game. I don't have it, but I know that someone who does have that game, and they religiously play it every day, and it is good to teach our children about financial education. I know my mother taught me a long time ago. My grandmother had a restaurant, and when I worked there as a waitress. I worked there when I was little, of course, getting my tips. And my mother said, don't spend it on something that you want, spend it on something that you need, and start a savings account. So years ago, that was embedded in me. And to this day, that has grown subsequently. And I always would put money in an IRA or whatever. And I also am an insurance agent, believe it or not. You guys probably don't know that. I'm not into the financial sector. I don't have that license, but we learn about securities. We learn about all that. And it's just very important to do that. I know my husband and I, we put money in an annuity, and you have to do that for your retirement. I turned 65 this past November. So, you can't start now. People have to start saving money basically when they're in elementary school. They always tell you that. But if you do start late in life, Tony Robbins and also Susie Orman, all of those financial gurus that you can dig into their brain and help read some of their books, and they will give you the financial advice that you really need. And you can trust those people to lead you in the right direction of how to use your finances once you make it. Don't spend everything, don't put all of your eggs in one basket, and diversify. So, but I'm looking forward to this book. Hope I can make all the book clubs on Thursday here to see what it's about. And I've got to download the book. I've got to get the book. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, Patricia, I haven't started reading the book yet, but apparently everybody is kind of going to be on the end of the first section, up to page 80, I guess, by next Thursday. Is that right, Kat?
Yeah. We're gonna go through so all of section 1. So that's a little bit more than 10 pages a day. But I know also one problem we always have in book club too is sometimes the book is so good you don't want to stop reading. So then people get ahead, and then we kind of have different stories from different sections. So thank you so much, Patricia, for sharing. Definitely so many different points. Money in itself, it's just one of those crazy things. We're not really taught in school how to really manage money. I mean, there's not too much taught in school of like real world application, right? And another thing I think is cool too is that we're also coming together here as entrepreneurs. And so a lot of people out there, having this information is fantastic, and I can't wait to dig in. But having this ability to also know how to create more income, create different income streams, can give us that, it's even more leverage in our life that we can learn to manage, and we can learn to actually keep more money and make more money. So I think that's super cool that we have that. And having this kind of setting in book club is always awesome because we can gain different perspectives and support each other in kind of going into even newer territory and instigating change in our life, right? Which is always what it's about. Erin, I don't know if you want to come out and just share some thoughts before we wrap up here. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I want to give everyone opportunity to come out and speak. If you don't want to, it's perfectly fine.
Thanks, Kat. Hi, everybody. I'm Erin Murphy, and I've had this book, I'm ashamed to say, over a year. But I've actually sat into it, and I've been interrupted every time I go to pick it up. And it's not a book you really want to be interrupted in. You want to make notes, you want to like check mark, you want to like highlight stuff. It's kind of your textbook. You want a computer by. Every time I was there, I was like, wait, where's my tablet? I want to look at that website while I'm there. And Patricia, I too I'm also a licensed insurance agent and dealt in the annuity factor and selling annuities. So a lot of this, I'm hoping, is not new to me. I had to take several finance classes in college just to get my stinking degree. And so I hope it's not, I keep looking at this book going, I'm terrified of it. I hate money. I have a great fear of screwing up. So this is a good start, at least reading. I can't screw up. I'm not playing with real money. But the cash game, I'd really like to get a hold of that. I know in my area that there's a meetup, meetup.com. There's a meetup in my area that plays the game like every week. So if you're interested, there may be some resources in your area too that do that. And most of the people are, in the same boat as all of us, either learning or in different stages of learning. So it's awesome. I'm really glad I'm with a bunch of entrepreneurial, strong women who will yank me through this book. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you, Erin. Thanks for sharing. Well, yeah, definitely, it's like a workbook. And money, it's like he's saying, like, it's so emotionally charged for people, where it's a touchy subject, right? It's something that is such a huge part of our life. And so it's good to do it in this kind of setting with like support and encouragement, and also having this kind of schedule that, we're going to read this by this time. It'll kind of force you to also set aside the time to be able to devote to actually focus on it. I don't know what to expect with this book, but I know, reading Tony Robbins in the past, he's always about, he has this different kind of approach to things where he simplifies a lot of stuff, and he brings in this element of transformation always, because that's what he's really good at. And so giving us actual practical things to implement that are simple, I think, is what is going to make this book very consumable, right? Because sometimes information can be too much and can be too overwhelming, but he has a way of having this conversational tone and this method to the way he teaches to instigate that kind of change and transformation. And hopefully, it would be really interesting to kind of see, even, I don't know if you ladies want to share, but as we go, even feelings we have about money and how they can shift over the course of this book club, right? Maybe he can bring in like not hating money or not being afraid of money, or, having this shift in kind of the way we approach it. And he does address that a lot in the first 1.1 chapter. And I've had the book for a long time too. I've cracked it open a few times, and just knowing that it's such a kind of like a meaty book where you really have to get in there and get your hands dirty, I just have always put it aside. So I'm really happy that we're doing it in this setting where it's like we know we have to get through it. So fantastic. So again, for next week, we're going to get into whoever hasn't got the chance to catch up, we're going to go through all of section 1. And I got to reread parts 2 because I kind of skimmed through some things. And then the way we kind of roll is, just coming out, and if you could kind of take one thing that really stood out for you in the chapters that we're reading throughout each week, and we kind of come out and each share kind of that one thing, because the hangout is fairly short. It's about 30 minutes, so we can have an opportunity for everyone to speak and then just kind of wrap up, and we'll keep going and figure out the sections as we go, because each section is different in terms of length. So thank you so much. This is a fantastic first session in 2017 with our new book. Super excited to go through it with you. And I don't know if next time, next hangout, if more of you want to share how you feel about money, we can kind of get into that. And then over the course of the time, even wrapping up the book later on, see how that changes, see how that shifts for everyone. So thank you so much, ladies. Really appreciate you, and see you next week. If you're watching the replay, if you want to join us live, then just connect with whoever shared this with you, and you can pop on live with us and join the discussion. You want to leave some comments on the page, that's fantastic too. If you want to join our community, we're talking about being entrepreneurs. If you want to be an entrepreneur, there's a button below, and you can check out the system we all use, and you can join us there. So thank you again, and see you all next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.